It's Big Ten Media Days, the Moneyball of press conferences. You're listening to Can't Read, Can't Write. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Can't Read, Can't Write, the podcast that proves Spartans can talk. I'm Mike Jones, joined as always by the guy who's beginning to think that Plum doesn't want to go to the Tigers game with him, Kevin Greck, and the guy who's got a lot of splaining to do, Alex Plum.
Yeah,
I've got no explaining to do.
No, this is very uncomfortable. I hope the listeners can pick up on the energy in the room right now, because it's twice this season that Alex Plum has invited me to a Tigers game, and it's twice this season that he's canceled, either because he's got to babysit or there's not actually a game.
I was going to say, the first one, you can't really invite someone to something that doesn't exist. So that's sort of on you. I mean, at that point, that's really just...
That's sort of like the time Greg said he got tickets for us to go to the game and then didn't.
Oh, it's the revenge.
There it is, the revenge tour.
It comes back around. I understand it now.
Yes, one of us, I won't name who, did forget they promised their sister they would watch their niece. So that was an oops that one of us did.
It could be anyone, though.
Could have been any one of the three of us, frankly. Yeah. So anyway.
We need to get care.com as a sponsor and then one of the ticketing apps so that Greg can say it is one that he's capable of using.
Yeah, do they have a rover for babies? Is that a thing? Can you walk a baby?
Is that a good idea?
Just get a rover for the baby.
For the baby.
Just do that.
If you like duct tape the baby to the dog, that's the same essential.
Put them in the dog costume.
Yeah.
When I was a child, I had a leash when we went to the mall. What's the difference? Difference?
Please tell me you really did.
Yes, I really did. I'm comfortable sharing that story because it reflects more on my parents than it reflects on me.
Yeah.
But it has been the subject of many a therapy session now, years later.
Oh man, that is rich. I'm sure that whoever did that has never uttered a judgmental word about anyone's, say, haircut in their life.
No, definitely not.
And lo, this little nugget of yikes that I will have to greet that individual with next time. All right. Let's get into it. We, of course, want to thank everyone for listening. And if we could ask a small favor, please share the pod with Spartans Your Life. Rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get podcasts. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Spartan_pod. And if for some reason you have not checked out the graphics I'm very proud of, do check us out on YouTube at Spartan_pod and give the show a like and comment if you get a chance.
There's almost going to be quite a show on YouTube this week, but someone demanded that Alex Plum wear his Modesty baseball cat t-shirt. Someone doesn't like listens, apparently, or watches, I guess, in this case.
Well, it might drive 2 listens.
No, it's interesting. It's interesting because I think I kind of have low nipples, so it's like where I would expect them to be in the frame, they're not. And so then I found myself having to launch up. So I think I have lower nipples. Maybe I can get a nipple plasty. You might just add a few extra nipples. If you go up high enough, then you've got them in all the right spots. Yeah. All right.
That's true. The mall rats
utter situation.
Yep. And that's it. If I could just figure out how to milk them all. This is good. We should keep talking.
Jonathan Smith will be quite proud.
Yeah. Someone volunteer, who wants to give a rundown of what we're covering on this episode for our listeners and viewers?
I volunteer Kevin.
All right. We start behind the green wall where football always leads because the guys were in Chicago this week. Then we'll go off Grand River where things are happening, presumably. I don't know what they are. And then, as always, we'll take your Twitter questions. And will we reveal Michael Jones, finally the winner of the summer Twitter competition?
Yeah, I'm going to have to enter that data as we're recording, but yes.
Awesome.
Let's
get
here.
You're driving me to drink. Should we talk about number 17? Let's talk about
Yeah.
number 17.
I'm gonna take a little sip right out of the bottle. Right on.
Mhm.
La, 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 la.
I'm going to do the same thing. Mm. Mm. That's gin, all right. It's very floral, this one,
It's
Plum.
very floral. I don't hate it.
No,
Not-
I don't hate it either.
Not too bad of a burn.
It
No
goes
linger.
well with a tonic water, too. I'll say that.
Pairs very well with the tonic water.
Yeah, this one's much more floral than like piney.
Yeah.
If we're
Yeah.
separating our gins.
Yeah, if you're not a big gin drinker because you don't like the juniper, the evergreen, as it were, I would highly recommend this for its floral. It gives a lot of the Hendrix, when the Hendrix does the colorful bottles, the purple and the pink and the bouquet with the floral bouquets on the nose. That's this 100%. I think this is a very palatable gin for someone who's maybe been burned by gin before. You might like this a lot in a G&T, whatever it is. Do we know what it is?
I'm asking right now.
Very good. Let's keep the people on hold until we get there.
Boop, 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 boop. No, it's fine. I'm happy with it though. We'll come back to everyone with
what it is.
with what it is, and it comes with a recommend.
Yes.
Shall we
You gotta
go?
get-
Off Grand
That's
River?
the other ones too, 25 and 9, because I'm doing 9 right now. So
Niner.
but yeah, let's get into it. And our first topic behind the green wall is going to be Big Ten Media Days. So let's start with the speaking, and then we're going to get to some of the media feedback. But it's, of course, Jonathan Smith was there. Dylan Tatum, Jack Velling, and Nathan Carter also joined. Wanted to sort of check in with you both and see if anything stood out to you from Jonathan Smith's. Let's see, he had 3 different media availabilities.
Oh, I think he said the right things. I don't think he said anything that we should be surprised by. I think a lot of it is the same themes that we've heard before. Excited about the guys. I will, if anything, maybe I will say that he didn't couch expectations too much. What he said, I think in all 3 of his availabilities, is they want to win, and they want to win sooner rather than later, which, there are coaches that'll be like something, rebuild, something, install my guys, something. He didn't go that way. He did a lot of talking about the guys that he brought over, the guys that he's got. He likes that they're football players, and he thinks, he didn't promise, going to the college football playoff, but I think he did answer a question about bowl eligibility and said that he expects to be there. Plum?
Yeah. To that point, real quick, I just unlike, say, Dylan Tatum, who said win all of the games on the schedule, he said win more games than not.
That's true.
And play the best ball at the end of the season, which, that's great. That aligns with my expectations of a competent program at this point.
And that's exactly, thank you. And that's exactly where I was heading. He was measured. He was reasonable. He set expectations that didn't make you want to set your face on fire. He was an adult. And it was so lovely, particularly after hearing some of the other coaches try and fail to speak with their imbecilic platitudes and Venus references to God, and I don't know, describing what part of Los Angeles is in. All of it was unbelievable. I mean, for the amount of money these people are making, to be that inept at a microphone is just absurd. And Jonathan Smith just came in there and was a fucking adult and did an adult thing for an adult program. And I am here for it. And I'm so fucking happy to have a sane, rational adult leading this program. And that's it. Honestly, he didn't have to give me anything else, just that. And that was all I needed. So loved it.
So Plum, you just called him sane and rational and measured. How does that make you feel then when he said Jack Velling has the potential to be one of the best tight ends in the country this year? Not the conference, the country. Does that make you more inclined to believe that in the context of reasonable expectation setting for other parts of the?
I think so. And I will not be happy to be wrong, but I will be very quick to say I'm wrong and then immediately turn my back on him as a measured individual and no longer justify. So one or both will be true. He didn't give us a time horizon on this. Jack Velling is not a senior. He's not out of eligibility after this year. This isn't like we're going to turn a guy with no stars into a Heisman contender overnight. So I think we need runway, but he set that runway for us by saying, win more than you don't and see improvement, your best football at the end of the season. And if that's what we see out of Jack Velling or any player for that matter, I'm happy to continue to throw all of my chips in with this guy.
Wonderful. So the three other speakers, as mentioned, Dylan Tatum, Jack Velling, and Nathan Carter. Anyone of these guys that you want to start with about anything that stood out? Either of you?
Let's start with Tatum, because first and foremost, through it all, through big coaching transition, through fallout last year, and then a new hire, I got to say, I appreciated that we had a dude that chose MSU out of high school on the dais. Like a guy, and not to take away from, Nate Carter or Velling, but like a guy that's been in the program for a long time, that's from the state, that knows Michigan State, that isn't, like an Oregon State guy just kind of like representing the staff more than the university. Again, not to take away from Jack Velling, but having someone that is like homegrown MSU was very appreciated as someone that consuming this media and like listening to the guys talk. And he took the questions about the university. He took the questions about the rivalries. And he was a godsend, honestly, at times in these interviews.
Correct. To that point, I think he was asked specifically about, transferring after the Tucker stuff in the end of last season. And one of the more impressive response, he had a number of great quotes, but one of them was specifically, I grew up a Michigan State fan. Like, why would I want to leave here in a moment where I have the opportunity to get this place back on track? And I think for fans anyway, it's nice having people who seemingly have a bit of the same connection. I mean, he obviously is a very different relationship with the university than we ever had, but like the idea that a lot of fans wish they could get the program back on track. And it's nice to know that there's someone there who is equally invested in, I don't know how many games I'm going to win in my legacy, but like being part of stabilizing, moving to the next chapter is important to him because he cares about Michigan State. That stuck out to me from that perspective. Plum, was there anything that stood out to you?
No, I didn't see that one.
The other thing that stood out to me was he talked a lot of shit about the offense last year. So 2 quotes. Quote, last year we got so close, but the defense was on the field for 80 plays and we scored 6 points. And then referencing this year, I think it'll be good, especially now that we can, pass.
Oops.
Wow.
Swings taken.
Just brutal. Anyway,
I'm glad he's still here. I just think this is the kind of guy that you can appreciate. You can appreciate a straight shooter. Yeah, even if there's going to be a little sass, that's what you want. You need the edge, so I'll take it.
Yeah, he was definitely the personality of the three guys. Jack Velling, he seems like a guy, if I worked with him, and he does look like someone that I could work with. He looks like he's been in the corporate, world for like 15 years now. Yeah. I don't know if like he's new in front of camera, he's not fully comfortable, or this is who he is. He seems like the type of guy that I would try to generally avoid on calls. It's very, very straight shot, very like, this is work thing. But That's what I'm a very unserious person that no one should want to have on their work calls. So this is who you want in your corner. This is who I want as my tight end. And it's that approach that like puts him in contention to potentially be the best tight end in the country.
So a couple things that also stood out to me. My favorite quote, I think, from him was asked about the differences between the Big Ten and the Pac-12. Quote, "We don't wear suits to Pac-12 Media Day." Maybe ties into his other quote regarding conference realignment, which is that it kind of felt like we were being left behind a little bit. Well, yeah, maybe if you guys took things a little more seriously. But did echo that same confidence about a turn in the offense that they're going to score a lot of touchdowns this year. I need to see it, but there did seem to be some confidence from all of the players that the offense is looking meaningfully better. Finally, Nate Carter spoke, and super impressive guy. Apparently also first player to meet Jonathan Smith, was in fact called specifically by Smith to visit his hotel. Greg, are you surprised that Jonathan Smith gets to Lansing, capital city, airport, they take him to the Kellogg?
What are you trying to say, Michael Jones?
Where do you go for drinks? Do you go to the Kellogg or do you go to the Graduate? Like, we don't need to be funny about this. Like, if the Graduate didn't exist, I get it. Totally makes sense. But it does.
If I remember correctly from his coming into East Lansing, he wasn't coming here for drinks. He was getting down to it right away. Kellogg Center is a perfectly fine institution, and it's got a hotel bar, by the way. Fairly nice one. So I don't have a problem with this. I think you just have your rose-colored glasses for the Graduate and for the Rock Bar. You like to get up there and have your Jell-O shots. Jonathan Smith's not having any Jell-O shots night one in East Lansing.
When all the basketball players come back and visit, as they've been doing lately, where do they stay?
Bro, it's a different, what I'm telling you is it's a different thing. It's a different purpose.
I'm surprised they didn't give an A+ experience to Jonathan Smith. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, what stood out to you, Greg, from the Nate Carter media availability?
Well, first off, he is a transfer, and he was talking about the new scheme, and it got me to thinking, like, this is this guy's third install. He's got UConn, he's got MSU, and now he's got this.
Yeah. Can you really retain all of that, I guess, is my other question.
That's one of the things that he was talking about. It was like, I've got so much verbiage now. So many different approaches and schemes and the same label for multiple different things. And I was like, man, these guys, like, truly, like, the game is a big deal and playing it is a big deal. And I know the three of us talk about like how we're getting further and further away from these guys being student athletes, but like, it was a good reminder that like, there's just so much that these guys have to do. Also, generally, seems like a very affable guy and someone that you want representing the program. I guess under the circumstances with a new staff coming in, got to be thrilled to have what seems like a very buttoned up, like,
put that dude in front of a mic, like,
yeah. It had a little bit of Kirk Cousins in
incredible public speaker, like,
yeah. Also, apparently married now. Got married this summer to one of the soccer players, I guess.
Like a couple weeks ago, yeah.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Met her at church.
Met her at church.
Yeah. I'm over there and being like, that's right.
That couldn't be bad.
Yeah, in terms of the new install, though, he did indicate more passing going to happen out of the backfield, which I think is generally speaking, you're putting more receivers that have to be defended. That's great, but also for a first year starting quarterback, having a running back like a tight end who can leak off of a block and provide a safety blanket for what we can only assume until proven otherwise is an ineffectual offensive line, then that's not a bad thing for Aiden Childs having success in his first year. So anyway, I thought 3 different representatives in their own right, but all unique to this moment in Michigan State's time, and all did great. So I don't know. I'm excited. I'm ready to see what this team can do. And even with Jonathan Smith's tempered expectations, the tempered expectations do seem to come in the context of competence, which is, I think, what we've been yearning for. So looking forward to that.
Before we move on, we have an update on our gin.
Yes.
It's McQueen and the Violet Fog, which we've had before. And we liked before, so we're consistent. It's this palette. It's this well-tuned palette that our listeners know they can rely on.
Very bad and very, very bad.
McQueen is a very interesting bottle as well. It's a good bottle to have on the shelf. So
a looker, we might say.
The last thing to chat about from Big Ten Media Days is Cleveland.com did their annual preseason poll of Big Ten beat writers, and Michigan State polled at 16th out of 18th. One of the things that stood out to me as we put a bit of that in context is the number of questions Jonathan Smith got from folks who don't actually cover Michigan State that relied on this narrative about the number of transfers out from Michigan State. And who was it? Why can't I think of that dum-dum's name? Couch in the Rube had on Scott Dockerman, who's Ackerman's the Comedy Bang Bang guy. Anyway, Dockerman is an athletic writer who covers Iowa and the Big Ten at large, and was apparently planning on doing a piece again with this notion of the number of transfers out. It feels like there's been a lot of focus on what happened to Michigan State in the spring transfer portal window versus what happened in the winter transfer portal window, wherein they brought in a 5-star or highly ranked 4-star quarterback in Aiden Childs, brought in the number 1 tight end for touchdown receptions, brought in a offensive lineman from Joe Moore finalist offensive line. 16th feels low even for me, and I'm not really that high on this team.
Yeah. I mean, I think there are going to be times, like we've said this season, where the media participating in this poll are going to feel very secure in their 16. But that's a function of the schedule. And hopefully Jonathan Smith is right. This team is playing its best football near the end of the season, when they can kind of go on that little winning streak at the end, feel good about something, backdoor into a bowl game, and be ready for year 2. Launch into year 2. That's the goal for this year. Upset some people, win the games you're supposed to, launch into year 2. That's what we want. And I think...
Well, you're angriest. Do you put us at 16th out of 18?
Oh, no. This is very, very, very upsetting very upsetting. And maybe 10, maybe smack dab in the fucking middle, but 16 is abrasive.
Did this poll happen before we all found out that UCLA's coach will probably be found in a fugue state there's going to be an issue there that no one really has to worry about that team this year.
When you find out he takes off recruiting periods because he goes to Burning Man,
My God, the man is the Burning Man. He's burning something. He needs to put it down.
So the other thing that's happening this week, or just finished as we're recording this, is Spartan Dog Con. And I bring that up only because Michigan State picked up a commit in the process of Spartan Dog Con. LaRue Zamorano, depending on what service you look at, a 3 or 4 star defensive back out of the state of California. According to the composite, 486 nationally, 42nd cornerback, 41st player in the state of California, with offers from Washington,
Arizona, Nebraska, Oregon, Oregon State, Penn State, Utah, Washington State, USC. So as far as the peer list goes,
this was
I
a
feel
good
pretty
one.
good. Yep. And in talking about recruiting, Jonathan Smith did say they're going to focus on the core, Michigan and Ohio, and then they are going to look for some West Coast guys. And wouldn't you know it, days after saying that, LaRue comes in from California with a pretty good offer sheet. So
I am curious to know why Spartans Illustrated has him as a 4-star.
Rivals has him as a 4-star, and Spartans Illustrated is a rival subsidiary.
I see you.
Yeah, but a 3-star on 3 and a 3-star on 24/7.
24/7.
24/7 does have him as an 88, which puts him very near 4-star status. So this is a good pickup. This is, if your 3 stars were in his bucket range, that's who you want filling out your roster for sure. This is a good pickup.
Very good. All right, very good.
So anyway, exciting pickup. Let's chat a little Moneyball, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
You guys have been obviously following Moneyball very closely. It's
hanging on every game. Yeah.
I live in Holt now. I bought a house in Holt, and I live there now.
So of course, Fiddler is leading scoring over the showcase, the entirety of the showcase, averaging most points per game. And then Jackson Kohler recently put up a 50 burger, which
58, which is just really spectacular.
I don't want to say who he put that up on, because that's not the narrative I'd like to push right now.
Oh no, who was it? Motor Cars. Who was on Motor Cars?
I'm gonna let you dig. I'm gonna let you dig so you can react to that afterwards.
Oh God, was it Frankie Fiddler? Oh
nope,
it was
no.
That's not the narrative.
Oh, McCullough? Oh no. Oh, sorry, Xavier. Oh shit, Jake Nathan.
But hey, look, we've been talking about that. Jackson Kohler just needs to see the ball go in the hoop. Whether, when, if that happens in Big Ten play, who's to say? But the fact of the matter is that I think the last center for Michigan State to put up 50-plus points at Moneyball would have been Nick Ward. That's only to say that Jackson Kohler does know how to play offense.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
For all the sort of shit the Fives got last year, it is worth remembering the shit hand he got dealt for that season. And that maybe, just maybe, Jackson Kohler is a plus player for Michigan State. I'm buying the stock right now.
Get inside, get outside, perimeter shots. The guys get confidence. That's all I want out of Holt, Michigan. A little fun, a little confidence.
Sure.
Xavier Booker he had leg day. He had leg day.
Yeah.
Both narratives can exist. That's the great thing about Moneyball.
That's the beauty of the Moneyball.
That's nice.
Well, this makes me want to reach for old number 9 in our box.
Number 9.
You guys had a sip of the old number 9.
It's great. It's really good. There's like an apricot on the back end. It's fantastic. Big fan.
Yeah, that's a sipper, all right.
Yeah, it's not that I've disliked other bourbons, whiskeys that listener Mike Jones has sent us. This might be my favorite, though, that he has sent us.
Really? Did you see what it is?
I've not seen what it is. Tell me it's something.
You, my friend, you are a big fan of the Eli Craig Toasted Barrel, which is on the old Total Wine a $55 fifth. So it's elevated in the Eli Craig
pantheon.
Wish I'd sit a little slower then, but here we are.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, you already done it. Jeez.
But it is nice, and
I started with it.
Oh,
I like Eli Craig. Generally speaking, I think it's a fine spirit to reach for. So
no, I don't know. Maybe it's a handsome bottle. Not really. I just would never go for it. I don't know why, because this is the truth to the lie that I've been telling myself, which is I'm not interested in Eli Craig. I should be. This is perfectly palatable.
This is labeled their whiskey of the month. I don't know if that means it's been whiskey of the month at some point or right now or what it is, but yeah, I'm with you guys. It's a fine bourbon, and I don't mind it either.
Well, before we head off Grand River, we of course need to let folks know, if you're traveling along I-94 and you find yourself passing Clear Lake Road, do stop in past the, I think, BP, Sunoco, something like that. Head into Mama's Mercantile Eatery.
You need to. And I'm going to tell you why you need to be on 94 right now. You don't want to be anywhere near M14 and US 23. You don't want to be there. They're not good places to be.
Yep.
They're neither safe nor productive. They're not conducive to a life of happiness and meaning.
There's a smell there as well.
They're down to like negative lanes. Somehow the lanes invert and then you're in the upside down.
Don't they have that lane that exists sometimes and doesn't exist other
That's
times?
on 23, and that's its own absolute Rick Snyder.
That was Rick Snyder's greatest accomplishment as a governor.
Why a lane would sometimes exist and other times not.
Because it's not as if the traffic would go in the opposite direction of the lane. It can literally only be that they're just trying to make it last longer.
It's load control for our highway system.
It doesn't make any
So when LeBron comes to town and doesn't play, that's what we're doing here.
That's what we're doing here.
Truly, I think it's because Rick Snyder could not be bothered to make Lansing his home. He commuted every day from Ann Arbor, and he wanted his little button that gave him his own little lane so that he could zip on up as fast as possible. And I'm not joking. I think that was a factor in this whole thing. And I remember when he talked about that lane in his State of the Union, and I was like, what? Talk about Flint, you asshole. You poisoned a city.
Mama's Mercantile for people who hated Rick Snyder and fuck traffic. Get on 94 and head over to Grass Lake. Get off at Clear Lake Road and drink and tell them we sent you and take 10% off your bill. Hot dog.
Quizzo on Monday night, or trivia on Monday night. Mention Can't Read, Can't Write. You get 10% off your bill any day of the week. And, of course, follow at mamas.merc on Instagram if you want to check out their excellent food, cocktail menu, etc. Good follow. Please, everyone, just give us the ROI on saying this every week. Follow them on Instagram.
Please clap.
And Rick Snyder, if you're listening and you want to prove to us that you're not the loser that we all know you to be,
you are.
Sponsor the pod.
Sponsor the pod, and also go to Mama's Mercantile, buy everyone around, and the people there that day might start to think differently of you. Maybe. Though they shouldn't.
Yeah. Here. Gentlemen, let's head off Grand River.
Yeah, shall we?
I'm gonna start on this one. This is really rich. Now, got a lot of things to say about women's soccer. Okay, but none more offensive than. No, I'm not gonna say it, but I will say it this way. Their coach's name was Bev. Okay, Canadian women's soccer in the FIFA Olympics. I'm really struggling at this one right now. They hired and took a coach whose name was Bev. And that's its own indignity. But after doing that, she, I don't know, whether through willful negligence, not unlike Jim Harbaugh's tenure at UVM, or greenlighted this, also probably Jim Harbaugh's tenure at UVM, greenlit the stealing of information from rival programs to benefit her program. I think.
Wait. Are there consequences for such a thing?
In fact, you can't do this. In fact, stealing information
No,
I've
been assured
is considered, in FIFA's words, the pinnacle of unfair play.
But Plum, you could just watch their other games and you would be able to understand.
And FIFA has 2 words that mean more over almost 200 years, 150 years of soccer, football, as it were, and they are fair play. They show up in every book of the laws from now until forever, and they matter. And so it felt great that when Canadian soccer decided to have some asshole graduate assistant or who knows what fly a drone over Team New Zealand as they did warm-ups and practice, not even at a game. The kind of information you can't get from that is so multitudinous as to invalidate even trying to do what she did. It is as imbecilic as it is ineffective. And it has resulted in her assistants, and this coach all being terminated by Canadian soccer from any further action with that team, but also suspended by FIFA for 1 year, which is effectively meaningless considering that, didn't have a job anymore. So who cares? But I just
and her name's Bev, so she's not going to work again.
It's going to be tough.
It's going to be not easy for her. Yeah, she might be able to get into like a bowling league somewhere.
Plum, did a lot of people come forward in the media and say, like, it doesn't really matter if you know what New Zealand's practicing, like you still got to stop them, and that's really the only thing that matters? Or, if you know women's soccer, you know that everyone does this, and or it doesn't actually help you, which are in conflict, but it doesn't matter. You can choose one or the other.
You just say whatever you need to say.
We've been hearing that chorus, right, over the course of the last several weeks.
No, in fact, you haven't. But I think more to the point, it's interesting. This was the reigning world champion, and nobody. Nobody.
Champion cheated?
Some might say. Some might say for the last 4 years, they've been, in fact, the leaders and the best among women's soccer. But
where have I heard that before?
But
where?
No one is above fair play. And so I can't say enough good things about Canadian soccer. I can't say enough good things about FIFA. Which is a program absolutely deserving no good things to be said about it. The International Olympic Committee completely defaulting to FIFA and to Canadian soccer for their disciplinary provisions. The IOC has docked Canada 6 points off the standings, which would require Canada to win all 3 of their group stage matches by healthy margins to guarantee a path forward. So not impossible, but certainly much more difficult now with, whatever junior assistant coach they were able to pull out of the Sen to lead them forward. So anyway, yeah, happy to see justice and what it can look like. Very, very, very refreshing.
Unrelated topic. You guys saw Netflix is releasing a documentary about Connor Stallions.
Indeed, I did.
Non sequitur. Absolutely non sequitur. Netflix doesn't have a great track record in this space. Connor Stallions famously refused to cooperate with the NCAA. So, first question, will you watch? Second question, what are your expectations for this? Let's call it a show. And third, can you call it a documentary merely because a person who was involved said shit on camera?
Is Connor Stallions participating in this documentary?
My understanding is that he is. It hasn't come out, but my understanding is that he participated.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, let's reserve judgment because I'm very good at jumping fully in, and I would like to see, because if this is a fucking apology piece for him, I will absolutely lose it.
On one hand, most of the time you would expect someone's participating in a documentary series, you would think that would present them in a favorable light.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, Connor Stallions does appear to be a crazy person who does not understand things. So it's possible this blows up in his face unexpectedly.
Fully. That's okay. Let's just see.
What was the HBO show following
the
like
Jinx?
Yes, thank you.
Very good.
That is the one time that someone agreed to participate in a documentary, and that did not go well.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. All right. All right. Other news. So we have covered a fair amount the House v. NCAA court case and the settlement decision. The athletic directors, or I'm sorry, more appropriately, conference presidents, chancellors, etc., have agreed to roster limits. That's something we talked about as part of the settlement agreement. They're kind of interesting. The math doesn't fully math here, but bear with me. Football is moving up to 105 scholarship positions, which is a net increase, I think, of 20? Yeah.
85.
Thereabouts, yeah.
And we'll hold the bit of that conversation because we actually have a Twitter question about it.
Okay.
But men's and women's basketball are moving up to 15. Tom ain't gonna fill that shit.
No.
Baseball moving.
The film guys are going to be on scholarship in 2026.
I mean, truly. Baseball is moving to 34, softball 25, and volleyball 18. Let's stop there. There's one other thing of note that I want to chat about, but I apologize if I'm stealing this from somebody who asked a question because I saw this on Twitter, but this is not good for Group of Five. Like, that's more talent that the Power Four can accumulate that they would not have otherwise been able to. This is bad for college sports.
Yeah, you take those 20 scholarships, those 20 additional scholarships for football, you put them in the Big Ten and the ACC across all those teams. That's hundreds of guys that are now
in Power
playing.
Four football, it's over 1,000 players,
right?
That will now, yeah.
On one hand, it did seem like rosters were a little bit small. Like, just look at what happened to MSU last year and has happened in years past once you have a couple injuries. But on the other hand, like, this is going to further consolidate the talent into a particular couple of teams or conferences at the very least.
In basketball, it doesn't make any sense to me. 13's already hard to carry. I mean, look at Jason Tatum just sat on the bench the entire time in the Olympics. And Steve Kerr said, it's hard to play more than 10 guys 40 minutes. Like, what are you going to do with those extra 2 spots? I know Izzo will find a way to fuck it up.
Yeah.
Because he'll play all 15.
I guess he finds some guys that can redshirt. The redshirt transfer is gone though, right? That was introduced during COVID and it's here to stay, right? Guys don't have to sit ever, right? We landed on that.
Wait, I'm sorry, say that again.
Transfers will always be immediate effect, right? There's no more sit.
Yes.
Right. That's
so if that still existed, there'd be a lot more red shirts. I guess it'd be easier to transfer. But that doesn't exist. So I'm really not 100% sure what this is for. Because as Jonesy, you pointed out several times, my team very seldomly has 13 guys. So what's 15?
And if he took them all, He played them all.
Right.
Tom seems to master being bad at this on both ends. Like, either doesn't take everybody and then plays it, or will play too many people. So don't love this. I don't follow baseball, softball, and volleyball well enough. Baseball having 34 scholarship players feels high.
My understanding is the MSU's baseball team was already on several of the guys being partial scholarship.
Yeah.
Like, we're already slicing and dicing these things. So I don't know if MSU was using its full allotment before, but I'm guessing it doesn't go up to its full 34. Oh, I would be surprised.
Yeah, well, and I don't know what these are the caps that I saw reported. I will just say, if you're Title IX mathing this, 15 for men's and women's basketball, that works. 105 for football.
Yeah, how do you make
baseball? The math doesn't math on this.
Yeah,
so
where do you make those 20 female scholarships up? Where does
20,
that happen?
20, Kevin, you're making up way more than that.
Well, I'm assuming that baseball just doesn't happen.
Crew is
they're going to need to. They already built the new crew facility. They're going to have to put a second one on the back for all of this.
So the other thing is that I think probably way more controversial than all of this is that the NCAA has said that there will be I'm air quoting the shit out of this, third-party entity that will monitor non-school-based NIL packages. So what that means is...
Can I get that job?
Collectives.
Yeah.
But, so...
Yeah, I want that job.
The challenge here is that, first of all, that's bullshit. Like, I have plenty of opinions about a lot of things, but like the way the rules work, people are entitled to make what they're capable of making, absent a collective bargaining agreement that says otherwise. So if your dumb boosters want to drop their billies on college kids, they're entitled to do that, and there's no good reason they can't. Right. Again, short of a collective bargaining agreement, which would be for the net benefit of the student athlete. That's why it works as a way to get out of antitrust laws. But that doesn't exist here. There's no CBA. So this idea that you're monitoring for authentic, again, massive fucking air quotes,
right,
NIL deals is absolute horseshit. And to say that it's with a third party, who's paying for that third party? Truly, tell me who's paying. It's the NCAA. So they are objectively tripping over their own dick.
Objectively.
They can't help themselves from being like, no, it's a third party that we pay. Someone else talk. This is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my entire life.
No, I think this is great. I think we need more imbecilic jobs just like this that don't mean anything, that have no real enforcement power, and ultimately aren't going to do anything. But they'll exist in the sort of context, the milieu of NIL related entities that are unnecessary, superfluous, and frankly fucked. But they'll just be, and then they won't be. Very quickly they will cease to be.
Very quickly they won't be.
Yep. And then you'll be like, oh, what happened to them? So
third party entities.
That's the kind of job I think all of us should want and aspire to. Meaningless, confusing, and ultimately gone.
People with good resumes will sit on that entity, and then they'll update their LinkedIn profile, and then within a month, I guarantee you that shit's off their LinkedIn profile.
100%.
That entity does not exist anymore. Also, gentlemen, number 25, do partake. It is excellent.
Is 25 the shot?
It is.
So 9's the sip, 25 is the shot.
Yeah.
All right, let's get this last fucking thing, because I don't want us to spend even a moment more on this than anyone needs to.
So, all right, let's make this at least a mildly interesting conversation. Ward Manuel has been named Big Ten Athletic Director of the Year. Now,
This is presumably by some third-party entity, QSR.
It's a Big Ten based award. It's named after a person. I'm assuming it's a peer vote, and I guess they're just saying, well, you guys won the footballs. But that man is bad at his job. He doesn't get credit for not firing Jim Harbaugh when he kind of wanted to fire Jim Harbaugh.
Correct. When the two of them fell backwards into him continuing to be the coach 3 years ago because the Vikings didn't offer him the way that he expected to be offered.
And also because he was on the college football playoff committee? Like, I'm confused. His resume on paper is horseshit. It's bad. Even
Utterly.
I think their own fans who don't suck ass are also like, no, he's not a good athletic director. He covers stuff up. Doesn't have integrity. Like, he's bad. And he wanted to fire Jim Harbaugh, which was also not good.
He did succeed in reducing Jim Harbaugh's pay. I will say he's now had a football coach win the national championship, and he had a basketball coach win the national championship. Remember what happened with Kevin Ollie after he won at UConn? So
wait, was that where Ward Manuel was before?
Correct.
Oh no.
Things just happen to Ward Manuel because he exists in that space, and that is why he got this job. And things just happen to Ward Manuel because FIFA has more cojones than the NCAA and the Big Ten for enforcing literally anything on him. FIFA, the Detroit media, this just goes to show how little any of this really should matter and how stupid we are for caring about it.
Yeah, sorry. Did one of you say that he has a men's basketball national championship?
Yeah, when he was at UConn, Kevin Ollie won it.
Oh, thank you.
Right, and then Kevin Ollie.
You meant at U of M.
Fully imploded. So
sure.
But he was on to the next thing at that point. Yeah, it's dumb. It's so dumb. And I'm sure he thinks that he is.
Oh yeah.
Deserving of this.
Yeah.
But
he deserves nothing.
The only thing that makes him deserving of this is that he does nothing.
Yep.
And then things just sort of happen.
Yep.
Which I guess maybe that is a skill in and of itself.
Yep. Very good.
Well, should we do Twitter questions?
Sure.
No, we should not.
All right. I'm going to finish filling out my rankings. Someone vamp for me.
I'm going to vamp with a not a sponsor.
We actually have a vamp on the outline.
We have a vamp on the outline, and Michael doesn't even have it teed up. If you're watching from home right now, you think we're in Twitter questions, and we're not. It is disreputable, unprofessional, incorrigible.
I'm just doing a Ward Manual impression right now. That's fine.
Good. This is good. All right.
Podcast Shows of the Year.
We avid listeners, historical listeners of this podcast will remember days of yore when we were graced by many different prestigious and other non-prestigious individuals and organizations who very, very pointedly did not sponsor this podcast. And we highlighted them, celebrated them, in fact, for that work. This week, we are excited to bring this back. And this copy was actually provided directly by the school new to the Big Ten that is sponsoring us. So I will read it in its entirety. Gentlemen, this week's episode of Can't Read, Can't Write is not brought to you by the Communications Department at the University of California at Los Angeles, Communications Department located in Los Angeles, California. Excited to be part of the Can't Read, Can't Write network, which we recognize as the leader in podcasts for folks who can neither read nor write. We're sure you don't know too much about us. The School of Communications, which has over 5 majors focused on various communicating arts and sciences, is UCLA's premier communications department. There is also USC. So yeah, we're just excited to be here. Any questions? Email us at UCLA Communications Department, Los Angeles at University of California, Los Angeles.education.
I like
Where's
it.
that based?
I like in all of this that Plum doesn't have the capacity to even remotely get close to the delivery of UCLA's coach.
Or that he critiqued me in a dry run of something like this for the cold open.
It was different. This was more tongue-in-cheek. I am not going to take any responsibility or accountability for this. None whatsoever. Because how do you build a pause into copy? You can't build a pause into copy.
You got your online certificate from this school, and so it's a personal endorsement, Alex Plum.
Well, I'm going to go there. I'm going to go to there.
For those that don't know, first-year coach Deshaun Foster at UCLA had a bit of a he had a rough start with the conference.
Yeah, you should look it up. It's on YouTube. It's good.
You should find that.
You should listen to it.
It's not good, but it's a thing to watch.
It's not good, but it is great. Anyone else had 25 yet? Is it anyone else? Are you doing this?
I just finished 25. 10 out of 10. As a shot, 10 out of 10.
I'm still on 9.
Oh,
do we know what 25 is? Have we been told?
It smells like cake.
I'd give it a
cookies or something sweet, sugary. Sugar cookies?
Smells like cake?
Yeah, birthday cake.
Is it really?
Yeah.
It's birthday cake! Hold on. What is this? Killer vodka birthday cake. Wow, I'm good. I wonder if it tastes like it.
Greg, can you run the macro on the spreadsheet real quick, and we'll give the Twitter question winners. But in the meantime,
it does have a creaminess to it. Oof, that was not good.
Plum. I'm going to mention listener Mike Jones, our dear friend who connects us with these excellent spirits, asks, the Olympics have started. What's the one sport you can't turn off during the Summer Olympics? Mine, he says, team handball. It's like crack. Just can't get enough. First, Mike Jones, one Mike Jones to another. If you have a crack cocaine problem, do reach out. It's not good. We should work on that. But anyway, Plum.
But it is fun and it makes you interesting. And I'm
crack cocaine.
Yes. Yep, crack cocaine. Curling. I can't turn off
for
curling.
Summer Olympics.
Yeah.
That's the sport for Summer Olympics. You can't turn off.
They curl on sand in the summer. It's on ice.
Shuffleboard is, I believe, what you're describing.
And sand in the winter. It's not as exciting as because it doesn't go as far. But it's its own thing. No, I don't know. It's definitely not soccer. Fuck. I will say last night I watched women's surfing, and it was very nice. I enjoyed it very much. Women's surfing. So if I could choose,
the dude that ended up with his suit half off. Did you see that? Some dude biffed on a wave, and his trunks came off.
That's furious typing that you hear.
Ooh, let me just Google that really fast.
That clanking is not his belt.
I was going to say men's gymnastics, obviously, and so I'll stick with men's gymnastics.
My understanding is that's not the only junktacular event of the Olympics so far. During
are you referencing sort of a football pant situation, if you will?
No, what worse? It would seem that during the spectacularly French opening of the Olympics, the whole ceremony, there was a gentleman in a bit of a Speedo situation who had one escape down the right pant leg on television in front of 1 billion people. And you could see that
Down
he
the
knows.
pant leg?
Well, there's not much of a pant leg. Like, there's not a whole lot for it to go. I think he adjusted. I think it made a break for it. And you can tell that he like knew that there was a breeze where usually there is no such breeze. And he sort of like readjusts his body. But it's too late. Everyone has seen, and it's available on the internet. You can check it out.
If you can find it, but it's a tough nut to crack. All right, let's move on.
That's great.
Gentlemen, any idea when the can't read, can't write tailgate might be? Because he's going to start splitting up his season tickets soon.
Ooh, Jonesy, that's up to you. Go ahead. Tell Mike Jones. Tell listener Mike Jones. From one Mike Jones to another.
Yeah.
It's yours.
That's gonna be tough to suss out. We've got a new job on the home front, and so that's gonna dictate a little bit of this. But Labor Day might be the time to do it.
Wrong weekend. Try again.
Where are you gonna be?
Cape Town, South Africa. Let's try another weekend.
There's a football game. Why are you there? There's a football game.
Watch it from there. I can watch it from anywhere. I have eyes.
Maybe the next weekend then. The problem is,
I'll be back by then.
you will.
I will. The 8th? I'll be home by the 8th.
For those of you just listening on the podcast, on the audio, it's very tense on YouTube.
Really need to get the YouTube. You really got to upgrade to the YouTube experience.
So the challenge is that I am going to Disney the last week of September.
You love your child. Wow. Dad of the year, this guy, everybody.
Real original family vacation, by the way. How'd you come up with that one?
God,
My first one was your home, and I've already started paying for therapy. So that's how.
He could be talking to either one of us, frankly. It could be either one of us. Hey.
All right. Next up is Beth Amaro. Mike Jones, we'll get back to you. Next up, Beth Amaro. Nice to see my all-time favorite Spartan, Cassius Winston, back in EL. Who's your favorite Spartan?
Whoa, Beth. I thought you were talking about me. I am a little hurt. That was hurtful. But the answer is Drew Neitzel. So,
Is that for fun or just for spite?
That's for a lot of things, Michael.
All right. It's tough to pick outside of Cassius, correct? Do you have someone? I know who it would be if Cassius didn't exist.
It's a different Drew. It's the other Drew. It's Drew Stan.
It's Drew Stan.
It really is like, who was the guy when you were in school? That's the answer to this. So I'm proud of Beth for going outside of that, but it's hard to pick against Cassius though. Like in recent memory.
Is it weird that I weirdly want his pro career to end so that I can see what he does post basketball?
So we can start working on him becoming Michigan's next U.S. senator or whatever it is. Yes, I'm on board.
Like, does that make sense? That I want him to win and earn in sport, but like, dude is destined for other things.
This is very dark, but like, we need someone to pick up the mantle of what Mike Sadler was going to do. Like, we lost Mike Sadler, and that's truly a loss to the community. Yes. And I look to Cassius to be like, okay, now it's you. You're that now. Go on. Come on. Pick it up.
Can someone get in the way though? If he takes a job at UWM, I'm going to get him fired.
Correct. Call in a bomb threat that day or like whatever it takes.
I will find a way to get him fired.
He's not doing that. He's going to law school after he's done with basketball. And then it's going to happen. Like, what happens after that. He's not going. Anyways. He's not. Ishbia is not getting his mitts on Cassius Winston. There's no way.
Very good.
Did you happen to fill out the we don't need to announce it now, but did you happen to fix the...
It's fixed.
All right,
We're
we'll announce
Start
at
the
the
day.
end of the episode. At the end of the episode, we will get
And by
to
fixed, also fixed. You look me in the eye and then you say fixed. Listeners, did you happen to make do you happen to run the numbers on the spreadsheet after Jonesy couldn't be bothered for months to
do
put
anything.
his numbers in?
And I want to be clear, Beth is the one been begging for this, and now you're going to give the information that you're waiting until the end of the episode while you're answering her questions. It's disrespectful. Frankly, it's beneath even you. So
I'm putting in Venmo requests for the therapy for my child after he visited your home.
again, I don't know which one he's talking to. I think it's
both.
me. Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
and.
I think it's me.
All right. Next up from Beth, if you could acquire any single piece of sports memorabilia without regard to price or access, what would you choose? This is a great question.
Yeah.
Very good question. I have a couple suggestions. I think my MSU one would be I would like the suit with tie that Tom wore when he won his national championship.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like that. And then non-MSU, I would like the first red and yellow cards ever shown in a game. They didn't have red and yellow cards before, I think, the 60s in soccer. And so the first referee that used them and displayed them, I think I would like his set of red and yellow cards.
Was it in the same game?
I don't know, but I'm gonna whoever the guy was that took them into the patch, he used them at least once in that game because they'd been created. So
He was like,
that is so indicative of everything about your personality and referees and cops all together.
I love when he makes me into a cop. That's like my favorite thing. It's really because it gets him so angry and it just
I got this giant SUV. I gotta use it.
I was going to go with first taser or first sidearm. And he used it.
It's so fucking good. Okay, thank you.
Greg, do you got one? This is a good question. We should.
Yeah, I don't know. Sports memorabilia, just one, huh? So this is like something that isn't available over at the surplus store. This is like true sports memorabilia.
Yeah, she wrote this broadly.
Oh. So we just said Drew Stanton, right? Is the heroes. What comes immediately to mind for me is his caved-in helmet in the game against Minnesota, where I think we still won that game, if I'm not mistaken. I'll take that.
Okay.
Drew Stanton's caved-in helmet.
Wow.
Warrior.
Wow.
All right. Next up is MCA.
Michael.
What did you guys set the? Oh, go again. All right.
Well, I was just gonna because you've been answering. What would you guys set the win total over under for MSU basketball at?
27. Does this includes the tournament? I presume, right?
I think you have to. I think that's fair.
20.
20.
Got to go higher than that. Then
So I'll go. Yeah, I would take over 27.
we're gonna go 28, 29.
30 is 30.
28 and a half. Look, they're probably going to be ranked.
But that doesn't mean anything. This team will collapse. Any preseason ranking equals a fucking full on December meltdown.
They're going to probably be, if you're ranking them out, they're probably going to be 25 to 30 in the country. So not like ranked, but maybe receiving votes. So I think there's a difference between what we think they'll be and what the public at large might be willing to bet on. And so your over-under should be set accordingly. And so I guess I don't have a number in front of me. My point is that whatever number I would actually put out as the over-under for betting, I'm taking the over. Because I think the right number for betting purposes is the wrong number for what I think MSU
is going to happen.
At.
Very good. Well done.
So for reference, a team that was considered to be kind of maybe on the bubble, and then had the tournament that it had 20 wins. 20 and 15. I think I'm comfortable with 27 or 26. Because I think it's going to be a better team next year.
I think you're right.
I think I set the over under at 23 and a half, and I
think that's right. Yeah, I would. Yeah, that's right. I think that's a good way of saying it. Well done, you. All right, next up, Kate Wall. Hello, Kate, you old wall. For Kevin Greck, do we as sport fans bring more sadness or happiness into our lives through our fandom? Does it depend if your team is a perennial champion, or do the heightened expectations keep the sadness/happiness ratio the same?
I think, hey, this is an excellent question and one that we should be asking ourselves all the time. It's one that caused me to reevaluate my fandom several times, where I try to be more focused on the positive outcomes and just sort of let the L's go a little bit. Some L's sneak through, they still get you. But I try to have the highs be higher than the lows. I try to have the highs be higher than the lows are low. And I try to enjoy the big wins when they happen. And this was reinforced to me when Michigan won recently, and I went on Twitter, and the Michigan fans still seem just as miserable as they always are. And I was like, Jesus, like I can't let this happen to me. No, that's a perception bias. The ones that are enjoying themselves aren't on Twitter. But yeah, I think this is a great question, and one you, listener, should be asking yourself.
There it is.
As football season starts here.
There it is.
I also, if I can just add, because I think that's right, but I think too that I think about sports and politics as a Venn diagram in some sense of tribalism.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference is that it feels like the community that you get from sports is a net positive over what you get from politics, right?
Mm-hmm.
What the good of society might be, like, irrespective of that, but that we've been doing this podcast for a while now, and there's not been a ton of great times. I mean, there's that season in 21, but largely it's been not fun but we've met this wonderful group of people, and that to me is, as an aside from what you said, Greg, you're right about moderating, but that the aside of it all is that the community that you get to be baked into, that you get to make, and so I would just say that's sports have been miserable for 4 years, but it's been a net positive because of the folks we get to interact with as a result of this show. So
very good. Very good. Very loving. He doesn't mean a word of it. Don't believe him. Next up, Cedar Village Bagel. Michael, it's the morning after the bachelor party. By the time you read this, I'll still be dead.
Cedar Village Bagel? Oh my gosh.
Congratulations, my guy. But his question, and this is for you, Michael, our resident theologian. Why alcohol so tasty but hurt body? Is the heavenly creator playing tricks on us?
Is this you? I've
Cheers.
mentioned my theory about how that if there's a God, that I think this is hell on the podcast, right?
Yes.
I've discussed this on the pod. Okay.
Well, and you've also discussed it in one-on-one conversations with me about me. So I'm not.
Yeah. Speaking about that moment in particular, having that interaction. Yeah.
Right.
He said that to me as well.
Oh, good. Well, that takes some of the personalness out of it, I guess.
Yeah.
So. Well, all right. You'd been there for big moments in my life. But anyway, the point is that is the nature of the beast of God, which is to say that he giveth great things only to be able to take them away.
That's right.
Because God has small pee and needs to remind you that he's in charge.
Red and yellow cards for God.
Yes. Blue lives matter. All right. Next up is Cedar Village. I'm sorry, Kiski. One of you who isn't me. How's your NCAA 25 dynasty going?
You tell EA to bring this to Xbox Live or whatever their Xbox streaming platform is, and then we'll talk. I'm bummed.
Yeah, bring it to Nintendo. Original Nintendo.
Give it the NCAA 2564. Give me one of those.
I want an NCAA
please.
25 on a gray giant cassette that fits into a machine and you have to push it down. Yeah.
And when
that's
it
what I
doesn't
want.
work, you go, and then you try it again.
Just come on, you guys. Next up from the Key Ski, Jones. Last week you said cars don't impact cities. Then proceeded to only talk about cities that were formed before cars were invented. So that's it. Just to
Keeski, I've gone through the outline, and because I remember definitely talking about cars and cities. The problem is I don't see a question about that in last week's episode. So if you're going to come
I
for
do
me,
remember this coming up and me remembering whatever your take was, I didn't totally agree with it. And I was with Keyski on that, which Keyski is not going to want to hear, by the way.
the other thing is Keithski. Do check the founding of Detroit and tell me whether the automobile was around then, my dude. Because I'm guessing you're fucking wrong. So,
But they had like carts and horses and that kind of stuff.
Detroit,
This might be
the French
2 weeks ago.
colony. Yeah.
All right.
They had cars in the 1700s, Michael. Okay, it's science.
Finally, from the Keyski, pick one for modern football: Ringer, Bell, or Langford.
It's Langford, right?
It's Javon Ringer.
I was going to go Le'Veon Bell because he really popularized sort of that halfback catching the ball out of the backfield thing. And that's becoming a bigger part of football. So if he could come back around again, he'd be even better the second time. And I don't know how Javon's hands were.
In the league, he was a 3-down back, right? So, I mean, that tracks. There weren't a ton of those. For some reason, I thought Langford was as well, just a shorter-lived career, but...
I'm going to say Javon Ringer's hands were just fine.
I mean, there's a whole thread on all the things he could do on the Red Cedar message board, so that tracks.
We're really showing our age this episode. Next up from Thomas Zambiasi, I didn't catch anything from Media Days. Any big takeaways I should have other than the usual, we feel good coming into camp, going to be a very physical team, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
I think we covered this at the top.
Yeah. There were plenty of coaching platitudes, but there were some nuggets in there as well.
Listen, Ross Ells isn't with the program anymore. That's it. That's your takeaway. Okay? That's the takeaway.
Jonathan Smith could have opened and closed with that, and it would have been
a win.
The best one ever. Yeah.
He would have won the Moneyball of press conferences.
Yep. And then finally from Thomas, what's the most lost you've ever been while hiking?
You know, that's a scary question. People die routinely because they get lost while hiking. It's a scary question. I'm going to assume, Thomas, that you got lost while you went hiking, and I am sorry for you. I think once in the woods up at my grandma's house, I got lost, and then I heard a car, and I just ran as fast as I could to the sound of the car and got back to a road. I'm sure it wasn't actually, I wasn't in no danger, but I'm just saying, like, I know what that feel like, what the initial, like, oh, fuck feeling is. And so I hope that didn't happen to you, because it's fucking terrifying.
I was just going to say, I hadn't thought about this until this moment, but, and I'm going to go on a day hike in 2 weeks, so this is worth remembering, but that unlike backpacking, where you've brought food with you and you're prepared to be out, if you're going on a day hike, you're fucking around and finding out, right? Like, I had never thought of that before. And that's, in backpacking, the critique is you pack your fears, and like, you should not do those things but maybe like, cause you don't want to get too heavy, right?
Right.
You start packing all kinds of nonsense. Yeah. Pack your fucking fears. Cause like, it's a day hike. Like, I mean, truly, unless you're going to knock out 15 miles.
Right.
No. I had never thought of this before. Thank you.
There is a feeling. Have you had it, Kevin? You seem to be nodding and understanding.
I don't. You guys aren't going to believe this, but I don't do a lot of physical activity. So no. But I do believe the guidance is, Plum, you're supposed to suppress that urge unless you know absolutely sure, and you stay on the trail.
I understand that I was. The thing is, I was in like woods. Like there was no trail where I was.
Okay.
And I was fully and totally like, I'm fairly
Stay
confident.
on trail.
You were already off the trail.
I was already off the
while
trail.
this was happening.
And I think like the walk back to the cabin was not even that far. You know, like it
could happen though. Once you get disoriented in the woods, it can happen.
No, but that was the point. But more to the point was like I could have chosen any direction, and as like if I just walked 5 or 10 minutes, I would have been out of the problem. You know, I would have gotten my bearings. So I wasn't in any actual danger, but I know the feeling.
This is Plum's strange way of announcing he has Lyme disease. Okay.
Help me, I can't eat red meat anymore. All right.
Plum, next up for you from Jess Sip. My sister and brother-in-law, both MSU grads, recently welcomed a baby girl named Breslin. What MSU tribute would you consider for a future child's name? For the record, Jess says she had an I don't know, reaction to her name at first, but I'm coming around to it. And
that's
Plum,
your job as an aunt, is to come around on these.
Yeah. Good job, Jess. Good job. I'm gonna really hope your sister and your Bill are not listeners of the podcast. Get them onto the podcast.
Why do they spell it differently? Just spell it, like if you're gonna do that, just do it.
Just do it. Yeah, because now what's gonna happen is for the rest of her life, teachers are gonna be like, "Is Breslin here? Breslin?" And I'm just going to tell you that there's not really a universe where Breslin as a name is going to get a job anywhere. And so we're really going to need to work on just going by Brez or Bree or I don't know, something, because my God. That's a good question though. What MSU tribute would you consider for a future child's name?
I'll get one.
Cedar River, partial body contact only.
Okay. I was going to say Lou Rawls, but then you did that.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
No, I'm going to have to end your child out of love for you. And then I'll say, at least you don't have cancer.
I was going to start with Melvin Tucker, but then I was like, wait, no, hold on. There's an actual good name out there, and Lou Rawls is what I.
It's Cassius is the answer.
Cash. Yeah, I mean, like as a nickname, Cash. That'd be I could do that.
But Breslin.
What about Zoe?
It'll grow on you.
Yeah, it will continue to grow on you.
It's Zoe? No, it's Zoe.
It's like Zoe Lofgren. Like, shut up, idiot. It's Zoe.
To my family members, I was just speaking hypothetically before. There's nothing that any of you have done or decisions that you have made that we had to come around on. Don't worry. It wasn't about you. I read about that in a blog.
Good.
Next up, Spartan 1963 asks, thoughts on all extra scholarships? 20 extra in football is over 1,300. Oh, so wait, this was a question. Spartan, good on you. 1,300 across the Power Four, which is a huge impact on the group of five. And then also, does Jake's box really deserve an extra 22 scholarships?
This is good. I like this. This wins.
Yes, Spartan, thank you for this. Thank you for this research. This was great.
It's a question. I mean, it's true. That's a huge impact. I mean, it means that now 3 stars really does mean nothing because you're going to see star inflation. You'll have to.
Mm-hmm.
And I really do not like this is gonna sound shittier than intended. And I encourage people to go to the schools that they most identify with, and you can get an excellent education at almost any school. But a large majority of the Power Four are going to be able to present opportunities,
right,
in education, in addition to the sports component of it, that the smaller schools will not be able to. The one thing is though that maybe it doesn't matter, and it's a playing time thing, that you've over flooded your roster, and so the ability to shine at the Power Four, the group of 6 or whatever. I don't know. Maybe that's the counter argument. Like TV time's TV time, right? It's not like the MAC hasn't gotten dudes drafted. I don't know.
Yeah, it's true.
I've been over here thinking about the 22 other lives that Jake Boss could ruin next year. While you were talking about that. Next up from Ali, had ACL reconstruction surgery last Wednesday. Saw this on Instagram. Ali, hope you're doing well on the mend. Of all the things you have shilled on the podcast, okay, that's deeply personal. That's even more personal than the thing I said about my family earlier, but that's fine.
Which one? The name or the leash?
No, the leash deserves to be known. It's the name thing. What would you recommend to help with recovery? A Listen MJ drink, a Mama's brunch special, or Mel Tucker schlong picks?
What? Wait, that's what you chose as an
That's what I would
because you.
Yes.
Jesus Christ, you are worse than the UCLA coach's intro at Big Ten Media Days. Holy shit. And the answer, Ali, to get you up and moving is a fucking Mel Tucker dick pics. That's what it is. Just clockwork orange that shit in front of your face.
Presumably, those would fit in his brand strategy document too. These wouldn't be just standard ones. These would reflect the Mel Tucker brand.
9x11.
What happened?
I'm excited by 9x11.
It doesn't take much these days. Doesn't take much. Just you gotta stick his. Never mind. Just gonna never mind that one.
Next up, Pepe Plum. I guessed a promo code for the symphony, so I got listed as a I got listed as a performer for years and would get audition emails. My violin or guitar skills are not that good. My 99 cents from one sold song on MySpace, thanks, Mom, probably, does mean I'm a professional, but no autographs. Now you know.
Now you know. Thank you. That's great. A promo code for the symphony, and so I got listed as a performer for years. That's kind of cool, though, honestly.
Yeah. I also wish MySpace still existed so we could go find this from Pepe.
Tom. Where is Tom when you need him? All right. Rant of the week. Jargon. Or rather, people using jargon to tell me how to do my job with her high school diploma. Blank, you are an attendance officer, and I am pending my doctorate in education from MSFing in this area. It's just very expensive, 5 years, and I'm a slacker. But still, I'm approved for it.
Tyrone, I'll just say that my ability to succeed in my job is exclusively based upon my use of jargon, and I am quite confident that Kevin Grex is also. And if we're gonna say who gets the true crown of jargon, Plum, what's the school down the road called?
Yes. What is it called?
Yeah.
What
do you need to say to fit in your job? What jargon do you need to use?
Do you mean the you?
There it is. God, you're awful.
Is that what
I hate you so much?
Is that what
I truly
is that what you mean, Michael?
There's just nothing to like about you.
Truly, but the thing is, I hate myself more than you could ever hate me.
Whatever loathing you have for me.
You don't even start.
You had it before that, though, and you just said it to make yourself feel acceptable.
Leaned in. Come on, Sheryl Sandberg. Next up, Mr. Neurotic Pants. Sorry, Plum. It's me. This week in Spartan Nation won't die just yet. This week, a boisterous Tom Izzo calls a press conference to unveil a new T-shirt and team slogan. Here's Tamala. Graham Couch publishes his expose revealing that it wasn't Connor Stallions on the sideline, but his even more evil twin brother, Kyle. After Jake Boss is inducted into Hall of Fame, yes, that happened, an inebriated Matt Sheehan is asked to leave. Are you fucking kidding me? It's great.
I say in solidarity with Matt, one of us.
No.
It's great.
I mean, if Jake Boss made it to Hall of Fame, I think we'd all be drinking heavily that evening. including the Hall of, if you're also in Hall of Fame, Jesus.
Even Carol Hutchins in that moment would be drinking heavily.
Mhm.
Very.
Like
All
Ballsport
of us.
representing us. All right,
Correct.
next up
Ooh,
from
what
Strong
has happened?
Pants
Hall of Fame.
Sports Talk. Be it from coaches or journalists, is full of a metric boatload, ton of empty phrases, cliches, and repeated verbiage. So let me ask you: when you say you want MSU football to have a true identity, what do you mean?
Well,
All right. Professional jargon people. Let's hear it.
we're in East Lansing, east of Lansing. It's also LCC here. We've won a national championship in 2000. So, yeah, we're just we're happy to be here. Any questions? any other questions, Mr. Neurotic Man?
I can't speak because that was excellent. That was excellent. Well done. But the answer, Mr. Neurotic Pants, is for me. The identity comes from how your offensive line plays, how your cornerbacks play, and how you run the ball. So, are you tackling with ferocity? Are you blocking with ferocity? And I think that's the identity that I'm hoping and expecting to see from my MSU Spartans.
There you are. Final question from Mr. Neurotic Pants. Plum. Part of me wishes I hadn't been such a stupid young man. I would love to be the Vice President of the United States. I don't mind being driven to the Capitol at 3 a.m. to cast a tie-breaking vote, and I'll travel around the world on Air Force Two to deliver funeral eulogies or hillbilly eulogies that I didn't write. Alex, what makes you a good VP candidate, and how will you improve the office?
Listen, I'm breathing, and as I learned once from the West Wing, the only
Couches are delightful.
The only constitutional responsibility of the vice president is to have a pulse. So I can do that. I have good words. I say many, many things. I mean a lot of the things I say.
And doesn't mean others in ways that are important and very vice presidential.
Very importantly, I don't mean others. I'm capable of being a yes man. That's important. Very important. And I'm happy being ignored and looked over, particularly when I haven't done any work. And that's the most vice presidential thing I think one can say. So vote for Plum 2024.
Happy to be a reference on a lot of that.
Thank you.
Last up next to last, Momopoly. What sporting figure was on a poster in your bedroom wall as a child, and why? Or is the poster now on the ceiling?
Wow. Momopoly.
Okay. That seemed deeply personal
and sexual
and highly sexually charged, Susan. I need to understand it.
Curious what's on your ceiling.
Susan, just because I have Drew Neitzel's full body as a human adult outside of college basketball in various places in my home is neither here nor there.
The things that come out of Miss Mopoleaf after her nuptials with listener Mike Jones, like,
my God, she has one little drambuie after dinner, and Jesus Christ, we just get this kind of thing.
We're not that kind of podcast either.
Yeah, we don't go blue here, Susan.
Yeah, I am a little embarrassed that we included that one. Next up from Monopoly, this is probably a mistake. Olympic speak.
Who would you screw?
Olympic speak, because that's pretty much all that's on. So, which situation would you not bear? Dealing with where the sand ends up while you're playing sand volleyball. Wow, again, very personal. Or having to learn the rules of rugby.
Momopoly, is this because your chosen home country is not playing soccer
Mhm.
effectively, and so thus you've been forced to find new sports. I'm confused.
And soundly lost in swimming, I saw earlier today.
Do they swim there really though? Isn't
It's
the
because
frozen most of the year?
the pool was temperate in Paris, and there weren't any floating icebergs, so they didn't know how to
I
do
heard
it.
the pool's actually slow there, which I read that on the internet that the pool is slow, and I said it's fucking water. What does that mean? Like, what do you mean the pool is slow? Listener,
You
write
gotta
in
put
next week. Explain to me how I'm an idiot here, but
You got to put an
that's the-
American grease slick across the top, provided by.
if there's not a Gulf
Down
Coast
chemical.
situation,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
And then you're like
Uh,
a duck. You just sort of glide through the water after that, after you dive through it.
All right, last up is Upper Deck Jerk Guy. Gentlemen, all right, internal meeting. Do you ever just not want to do this?
Every time I have that thought, I think to myself, who's going to subject themselves onto the Upper Deck Jerk Guy if I hang it up? Like, truly,
So
spite will keep us together
Spite will keep-
against the Upper Deck
Spite
Jerk
will
Guy.
keep us together.
But truly, everyone wish for a good season.
Neil. All right, never mind. Never you mind.
I got it. It was good. It was you.
Okay.
I thought you would just carry it. You didn't need to acknowledge it. Next,
I
up,
love-
Upper Deck Jerk Guy. Does Grooch know you suggested that I beat him unconscious and urinate on him?
Maybe Grooch put them up to that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's nice.
You don't know what Grooch and Plum were up to before we started recording.
That's 100%.
And finally, from the Upper Deck Jerk Guy, before we reveal, because we still have to do this, I think we all would have
Yeah,
forgotten.
I had forgotten for sure.
Will Akins be Plum's new Max Christie?
Well, shit, if he's letting guys fucking light up 58 on him, then yeah, holy shit. I'll stab him to death the way I never got to with Max. That's a joke if the NSA is listening. It's not intended to be taken seriously and fully said in fallacious falacity.
That's it. That is it.
Nailed it.
Really good.
Thanks. Can't read, can't write.
All right, Greg, do you want to announce the winner of this?
That's up to me. That's up to me
It's to
to do.
you, Kevin. You're the guy.
All right. Well, let's do top three. Well, first
Top
off,
three.
Are you going to start at the top?
you gotta say, yeah, we started at the bottom, we were our way up. Gotta say,
Honorable mention?
participation really drove it this week or this
Yes.
month. If you were involved in all 4 weeks, you couldn't have gone any lower than,
Fifth.
I guess, 11th. That's a bad. That okay. That sucks. But like, truly, you were almost certainly going to be top half, except for whoever you are that's in 11th.
I'll find out and I will disparage you next week, whoever you are.
You will find out. So if you didn't participate, that might be why you're not on this list. However, consistency in showing up is a big part of life, and that is why the one and only Joe Ashworth himself, bronze medal 2024.
Bronze medal, Joe Ashworth.
Gentlemen, anything that you want to say about Joe Ashworth?
He's a reliable guy. He
Except in
wasn't-
his opinions about Tum Tum Naren.
Yeah, well, and also this week he didn't bother to show the fuck up. So shit, Joe.
Yeah. Yeah. What did
Wow.
we say, Joe? He was
Wow.
our winner in week 4. So very good for him. But third place overall.
All right, well done. Bronze.
Second place, and reigning champ, now passing the torch.
Passing the torch.
The Keith Ski, who was first place in week 1, second place in week 4, but really beefed it week 2. And it
Yeah.
cost him.
Who was scoring week 2?
I think I was. But I also was scoring week 4. And I
it
get
was-
second
it was-
place.
I think it was me, wasn't it? Or
Yeah,
that
it
week
was.
3? I think
You
I
were
was
week 2. Greg was week 3.
I was back to back. Okay.
I got you, Keithski. You know why? I always root for the underdog.
All right, are we ready for the winner? Rex.
Yes.
3,
The winner is
2, 1.
Spartan 18770, who never finished higher than third overall in a given week, but his consistency and his stick-to-it-withness and
Like a true fucking Spartan, by the way. You don't come in first. But
Well,
you're
I just want to, and
there.
I'm gonna just take a moment.
Oh, the honors guy is gonna interject on this.
You know why? Because you know who's not on this week as well? Just like Joe Ashworth, Spartan 18770. Not here this week, but you know who was this week with an absolute banger of a couple questions? Beth Amaro. And so Beth Amaro gets this year's honorable mention. Yes, she does. And if you know me, you know the honorable mention is really the Ray Guy Award or whatever Walter Doak Award or whatever award we get when we don't get the Heisman. That award is that's really what the honorable mention is, Beth. So well done, you.
All right. Let's end this dumb episode. It was a good one. It's nice to be back. It's nice to be back with some real content. If you all again could rate, review, subscribe, gentlemen, go green.
Go white.